B is a young girl who just moved to New York during a difficult time, as her father is undergoing a big surgery. Just as she was trying to move past her childish ways and be more mature, she finds out she has the ability to see imaginary friends. The imaginary friends, though, are in need of help, as their kids have all grown up. And they believe B is the only person that can help them find new homes. But when trying to find these new homes, the imaginary friends find out that maybe their place in life is a bit more obvious than expected. This is If. If is a new family film from director John Krasinski. And to me, this seemed like one of the most interesting films coming out this summer. Interesting for a multitude of reasons. On one hand, I really enjoy John Krasinski as a director. I'm a big fan of both Quiet Place movies. I know we have a prequel coming out for that, but I really hope he goes back and rounds out the trilogy. And on the other hand, as a 2000s kid, this film seemed a bit familiar, for better or for worse. And I will get into that, but how is the film as its own thing? If is a great little film, but I don't think the target audience, kids, are going to connect with it as much as adults will. Now that may seem like a bad thing, but I don't really think it is. In fact, I think it was the film's intention. This is a film I think adults are going to be into a whole lot more than kids will. It's just a super sincere and meaningful little film about embracing your inner child, and I really dug it. Now, the marketing for this film may mislead a lot of people because this is not a Ryan Reynolds movie. At least it's not a Ryan Reynolds movie in the sense of all of the other Ryan Reynolds movies he's made since Deadpool. I guarantee it, there's a handful of people that thought this was a Ryan Reynolds raunchy comedy with imaginary friends, and that is definitely not the case at all. This isn't a knock on him directly. In fact, I think he's actually great in this film. He just isn't the main character, which a lot of the marketing seemed to point towards, in my opinion. The actual main character of the film is B, played by Kaylee Fleming. She is the definitive main character of the film, and she's great. There's a bit of bluntness in her character, but both her performance and the character are just delightful overall. Now, the voice cast for the imaginary friends, or ifs, is quite stacked. It seems as if anyone John Krasinski or Ryan Reynolds are friends with or married to are in this movie. Which raises the question to me, why does Rob McElhenney not have an imaginary friend in this? Does Wrexham not mean anything to them? The two imaginary friends you get to spend the most time with throughout the film are Blue, played by Steve Carell, and Blossom, played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. These are the two ifs that are prominently going on the adventure with Kaylee Fleming and Ryan Reynolds. But there is still a catalog of other imaginary friends throughout this film too. Like imaginary friends voiced by Emily Blunt, Sam Rockwell, Jon Stewart, Bradley Cooper, and many, many more. And they're all great whenever they're on screen. I love how each of the ifs look. They are all extremely unique, and the effects bringing them to life are great. They don't look realistic to the point where it looks weird. They have a cartoony vibe to them, which works tremendously. Although I do wish some ifs had a more stylized approach to their animation. For example, Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character Blossom is inspired by 1920s rubber hose animation. I wish what we got was just 2D rubber hose animation, and not a 3D character made to look like a 2D rubber hose animated character. To the film's credit though, it still looks good, although I would have liked a bit more variety in the animation. Before I talk about the emotions and themes of the film, I need to talk about something that by law, I have to talk about being a kid who was raised in the 2000s. If you've been on the internet at all and you've looked into this film, you've probably seen comparisons to another piece of media. The other piece of media is M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense. Now that may sound insane, and I may be, but hear me out. What is The Sixth Sense about? It's about a kid who can see dead people. What is If about? It's about a kid who can see imaginary friends. There might be another comparison, but I'm not going to say it. Like, John Krasinski, you're clearly ripping something off here. But, you know, obviously that is a joke, but there is still a valid comparison to another piece of imaginary friend media. And the comparisons usually go like this.
I can't believe I'm wasting my time with this clown. I should be on an island with a fucking model by now, sipping dry martinis and peeling off bikinis, not rapping against Swedish penis-pumping weenies.
Yeah, that's
I didn't
not
say I
mine.
was finished. I'm sick of your silly gimmicks. I'm the best spy in the business. Just ask all the critics. And I've been through hell, so yeah, I'm a bit of a cynic, but I'm the original model that your frilly ass mimics.
I wouldn't exactly call you original.
Yes, I am talking about the hit Cartoon Network show Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Again, as a 2000s kid, I was raised on TV. A whole heck of a lot of TV. And I watched this show a whole lot. I would say it was one of my top 5 favorite Cartoon Network shows at that time. Maybe still is, I don't know. But the comparisons to that show to this film are very apparent. Just because they're both about the same thing doesn't mean it's the same thing, right? The movie toys around with the idea that maybe we can give the imaginary friends to some new kids and give them a new life in a new home. They even have a retirement home for the imaginary friends. The imaginary friend Steve Carell plays is literally named Blue. Yes, I know, he's purple, but they point that out in the movie. I'm sitting there watching the movie and I'm thinking, John Krasinski, this is really fishy. Did Craig McCracken sign off on this? Because I don't think he did. At least it would still be better than the Powerpuff Girls reboot. Anything would be. Now, I will admit, I don't remember many Foster's Home episodes being about relocating imaginary friends. I just remember the ones about the trading cards or the cookies or the episode where Blue gets stuck in a Hobby Lobby-like store. I can't exactly tell you how many times they did the adoption process in an episode. But I was almost ready to come on here and blast this movie as being a pretty blatant Foster's Home ripoff. That is until the film changes course. Now, I don't want to spoil it because where this film goes is quite brilliant, if you ask me. It really helps it stand on its own, apart from Foster's Home. It's when the film feels like it was made for the adults watching rather than the children. Sure, emotions of the film can be a little bit manipulative in certain cases, but the direction the film goes is just a stroke of brilliance and imagination from John Krasinski. It's something that flat out would not be out of place in a Pixar film. Except in a Pixar film, they actually kill the imaginary friends. Again, I don't want to get too deep into spoilers, but it's something that works just really well to me. I have room in my heart for 2 great pieces of imaginary friend media. It's a niche market, but it's a market nonetheless. I won't let a shitty Blumhouse movie in there though. But I really think this is a great and unique family film. I say unique in the sense that unlike so many other family films nowadays, they're not full of fast-paced animation and loud characters making loud noises. God, I hate that. Instead, it's just a funny, thoughtful, meaningful little film that really shows John Krasinski's range. I highly recommend you check this out. It's definitely worth a watch. I hope you all enjoyed this review, and if you did, please consider hitting that like button, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified when my next review drops. Until next time, I'm Quint Dunaway, hoping you will keep it cinematic.